Welcome back to another video. It is season 2 of Diamond Dynasty and MLB The Show 24, and we are bringing a video of basically everything that you should be, the first things that you'll see, what's new to the game, and what you should be doing to start off season 2. First thing that you will notice is obviously when you're first getting into the game, they have the season 1 recap where it shows, if you did some of the collections and got some XP in certain things. The show classics, season 1 recap, the egg hunt program, season awards, stuff like that. And it will give you, your head start awards. I really like this edition. I think at least it adds some incentive to, a lot of people kind of complain, oh, I'm going to lose all my cards that I grinded for all that time. At least you get something out of it. You get some head start XP, some ball as a habit packs to help you out to start off the next season. And yeah, so quickly, you can kind of see if you go through some of these things. Maybe it shows a little bit of what happens. They have wild card slots back, and they're a little bit different this year. But anyways, the next thing is the roster update, which is the first thing that when I got into season 2, that's the first thing I looked at. And I made stubs still off this roster update, but me personally, I think this was a really, really bad roster update. And to me, it didn't make a lot of sense for us. I mean, some of the players, obviously, I think it made sense for. Like, they had some players go up that, definitely should have went up. Chris Sale, Ranger Suarez, stuff like that. But there's some players I think it didn't make sense that they didn't go up, or some of them even went down and it didn't make sense. So, kind of quickly to go over players like that. To me, the top guy was one of my top investments, and it was Salvador Perez. For some reason, he didn't go up at all, and to me, it didn't really make too much sense. Like, I think with how he's playing, I know he's not good at defense, so his defense isn't going to go up. But I feel how good he has been this season that I thought, he was at least going to go up +1. But apparently he didn't. Ryan Helsley went down, which to me I didn't really understand too much, as he went down 2 overall. I know a lot of people were investing in him. I personally didn't, but I didn't really understand how he went down in overall. It didn't really make too much sense. And then I guess the last one, obviously, there's just a lot in general, I think, that didn't really make sense with this roster update. But the next one, the last one we're kind of going to go over, to me was, where's he at? It is Anthony Volpe, who stays a 78 overall. I thought this guy was for sure going to be a gold after this roster update. Especially after, he had the 20-game hitting streak, and I thought, just based off of that alone, he was going to get, glazed by MLB The Show. And it didn't happen. I don't know when there's going to be a fielding update, but if so, I don't know what his price currently is, which actually we can go check. But I don't know. Obviously, this is not an investment video, but at the same time, you know, if what's it called? If his price is down though, I definitely think he's someone that whenever they have their fielding update, he will go diamond off of fielding. He has a 78 fielding, 72 reaction, 55 arm. A lot of that I think will go up. So his price went down to 260. If it drops a bit more, I would do it. Right now, personally, I would not. But yeah. So I was kind of confused by the roster update. I didn't really understand a lot of the roster update. So that's kind of the first thing that you'll notice when you get in, though. The roster update obviously is a big thing, especially this one is pretty big because your core cards do really matter to start off this season. The next thing we will go over is the Season 2 Cornerstone Captains that you can get. And my personal favorite, stuff like that. And here are the 4. Corbin Carroll, we have Rafael Devers, we have Luis Castillo, and we have Giancarlo Stanton. So, Corbin Carroll, his is boosting hitters with 84 speed or higher. He boosts their contact. And I think this could be a really, really good boost. Depending on, obviously, all these depend on your play style, what cards you use, stuff like that. And I think this is a pretty good boost, especially right now to start off. A lot of these live series cards, some of them that have high speed, sometimes they aren't that good of, hitters, and adding, the plus 15 up to possibly contact could definitely be something that helps a lot with your fast players. We have Rafael Devers, who boosts hitters with under 75 fielding. He boosts their power, plus 5, plus 10, and then plus 15. And this is my personal favorite one. And maybe it's just for me the cards I use, but I feel like to start the season, a lot of these players, obviously, the players that I use, a lot of them don't have that high a fielding. And so, getting that plus 15 power could be a really big, help to your players. As obviously, maybe it's just me personally, but I feel like a lot of people, when they're playing MLB The Show, they're looking to hit home runs. They don't really care about hitting singles and all that and just running the bases. If that's you, maybe Corbin Carroll's your guy. For me, I try to go for more of trying to hit home runs. I'm not going to lie. So, Rafael Devers, I do really like, and that's the one that I chose. Then the next one is Luis Castillo, who this one I think is really, really good to obviously start off the season, as his is boosting live series players. Obviously, the farther I think we go into this, update, it's not as good, but I think, overall this is not a bad one at all, as him being your captain, especially, like I said, to start this season right now, you're mostly going to be using live series players. And if obviously he's boosting all your, live series cards, it's a good thing. So I think for the fact that you have so many players that fit this boost, it makes a lot of sense. And I think Luis Castillo is another really, really good one. And then lastly, we have a really interesting one, which is Giancarlo Stanton of boosting hitters who played from the years of 2010 to 2019. I think this one could be really, really good later on. Obviously, right now, with people using a lot of live series players, it's not as much something that you're probably too interested in. But especially as we get, deeper into this roster update, they're going to probably be dropping a lot of cards of, kind of throwback cards from between the 2010s, decade. And I think that will really help a lot of your players out that are going to be from that 2010 decade. So I think my personal favorite, Rafael Devers. I think Giancarlo Stanton later on in the game will be really, really good. Luis Castillo, I think, is really good now. And then Corbin Carroll, I think, is also a really good boost. So I think all four of these are really good, cornerstone captains that have a lot of players that obviously could fit for them. And I personally went with Rafael Devers. And yeah, so the next thing that I guess, we'll open a pack really quick, see if we actually pulled the diamond. So, didn't expect that during this video, but we pulled the diamond. Is that Tatis? No, that's not. Okay. No, it's not. Okay. We got Luis Castillo. We're just going to quick sell him. But, so yeah. Next thing we're kind of going over quickly is some of the new packs added. They have the fresh start pack where you can get Teoscar Hernandez, Blake Snell, Alex Verdugo, Jordan Montgomery, Abraham Toro, James Paxton, Kevin Pillar. And then the season awards, you get Clark Schmidt, Matt Strahm, Miguel Andujar, Anthony Volpe, Ben Brown. And those are the guys you get from those. And then they added a headliners pack where you can get Eddie Murray from. And then from the chase pack, you can get either Trey Turner or Johan Duran. So there's two now instead of one. As you can see, if you played MLB, the Show 23, they added the Incognito series back into the game. I really like, this card style, with the little nickname that they add to all the cards, with Triple Trey here. And I really like, this card series. I think this Trey Turner card's, especially to start off the season, really good card to have. And yeah, so all these packs. As you can see, if you see, I purchased one of the season awards when the game or when the season first initially dropped, hoping that the prices would be really high and I can make some subs out of it if I pull someone good. But overall, I don't know. I'm not too big on anyone buying packs right now because a lot of these cards won't be that good later on, and I feel like a lot of your live series cards are already better than them. The next thing we will be looking at is the ranked program, and something that I think a lot of people are going to like, as they have added to now where these stat missions are stuff that you could do in co-op and in solo. So, I know a lot of people like playing co-op. Problem is it doesn't really progress you through the ranked program. And so now with this, I think it's going to add, a lot of incentive for people to, play co-op, play with your friends. And it's more fun, I think, to obviously play, co-op ranked. And so now that you could obviously do all these stat missions, that is a big thing that they added that I think is a really good addition to the game. And yeah, you kind of get rewarded. You can play with your friends, and yeah. For the cards that are inside of the ranked program, we have Matt Holliday, we have, and then we have the World Series pack with Mariano Rivera and Mark McGwire. So, this Mariano Rivera card is kind of interesting as it is, a relief pitcher card of him from like way back, 1996. And so yeah, he has a different kind of pitch mix compared to kind of real life, or his later version of himself, I should say. And then we have, the Mark McGwire card, obviously big power bat. Definitely, I think a really, really good card, obviously, for, it is the first, program rank season. So I think really good cards that you get. I would not say they're as good as some of the cards you started off last season with. The Randy Johnson, I think, is overused, and it was a really good card they added in the ranked program. So compared to last season, I don't know. And yeah, so then next we have the Battle Royale program, which, has some of these kind of, you can get these gold players, these silvers. We don't really have to go over them. Even some of these low diamonds. But yeah, for the flawless, you get, Vinny Castilla, or you get Mike Muzana, or Muzina, which also, as you can see, they added the Takahashi Okazaki series back into the game card art, which I think is a really, really good, cool card art. And yeah, again, I think this Vinny Castilla card is actually pretty good. Mike Muzina, I don't know. I mean, I feel like in MLB The Show, velo matters so much, and so a lot of these low velo pitchers, obviously, I don't think is as, exciting to get. So I definitely think the Vinny Castilla one is definitely the one that I'm, more interested in. If I do end up getting, the BR program done or going flawless. And yeah. Then for the event mode, which I already played a few games of, they have TJ Antone, who we don't really care about. He's 85 overall. And then we have Luis Robert Jr. Incognito series. Again, really like this card art. And I think this is a card that definitely, I think, would benefit for a lot of people who don't have a lot of live series cards, especially early on into the season. And especially with the prices being so high for a lot of cards, if you're someone who doesn't care as much about, actually keeping these cards, when the season just drops, if you can grind out, get 20 wins in this really quick, you can go out and, get this card. If you look at his prices, you could sell this card for nearly $50K right now, and you can make a good amount of stubs for 90 overall. So yeah, that's something for some people who don't really care. In terms of the actual season 1 program, obviously if you have the head start, it gets you pretty far. And as you could see, the wild card slots that you get are now in the reward path for season 2. So I think that's honestly pretty cool. It kind of gives people more of a reason to kind of grind the game as you get more wild card slots. And if you're not too sure how wild card slots work, if you didn't play MLB The Show in the past, basically with season 1 being over, you can't use those cards anymore. If I go to my squad right now, I have Aaron Judge as mine, and it's basically you can get up to 4, but it's basically just a card that is from season 1 that you could use with season 2 because they're not eligible, but it makes them eligible. So as you can see from the program, you do end up getting one there, and then in this season they also allow you to get 3 of the same card, and as you see as we get down the reward path, it's the same thing. You get 3 of Chipper Jones, Ken Griffey Jr., and Roy Halladay, and you get them all at 91 overall. And then as you get farther, you get Lee Smith, and then as you get farther, you see you get 95 versions of all 3 of the same players, Chipper Jones, Ken Griffey Jr., and Roy Halladay. So you're still getting the same 3 guys later on. And if you keep going, you get a chase pack here. I think that's pretty cool. I don't remember there being a chase pack that you get from the last reward path, unless I'm tripping. I don't know, but I don't remember it. And then you see you get another wild card slot. They said that they made XP. They tried to make it easier to gain XP. I think they boosted the cap for how much XP you can get in a day, stuff like that. Trying to make it easier to progress through the season 2 reward path. And they said that they placed these wild card slots, at certain points that they think people will reach them at. That makes sense for the game at the time that people will be able to reach them at. Then they added a 97 Yasmani Grandal. I really like Yasmani Grandal in MLB The Show. He's a switch hitter. I love my switch hitters. If you look at, his height, he has really obviously maxed out contact and power. Absolute speed demon on the bases with the 1 speed. And yeah, so I think this is a really good card they added. You get another wild card slot here, so that's the 3rd one you can get. And then they have the season 1 bosses. So for these bosses, they have obviously the same 3 guys you've been getting. Chipper Jones, which I think will be the first one people will get. Switch hitter. Stats are obviously amazing. I mean, all these guys are going to have crazy stats, but I think Chipper Jones is a nice swing. Switch hitter, he's going to be one that I think a lot of people go after first. With Ken Griffey also being someone I think a lot of people go after second, maybe first, which he also has a lot of, those maxed out hitting stats as all these 99 players will have. And then they have Roy Halladay, who I think is the worst of the 3. But obviously at a 99 overall, you're still going to be getting a really good player. So those are the season 1 bosses, or season 2 bosses, my bad. And then after, if you could look on the right side, it shows what you would get currently. They said that they will be changing that as time goes on, adding a vault pack for season 2 inside the thing that you can get for the extra 30k XP after you complete the reward path. But for right now, since there's not much in the game to really unlock, they only have the show packs, fresh start, and a chase pack. So obviously not something I think you have to worry too much about, as we're not anywhere near completing the reward path, so it doesn't really matter at all. And then lastly, Team Affinity. Obviously we'll kind of quickly go over it, not go too crazy with it. You get a whole bunch of 89 overalls at this point of the game. For me, I like Anthony Santander, so we're kind of going to just go over kind of like quickly my favorites inside of the Team Affinity. For me, Anthony Santander, switch hitter. Like I said, love my switch hitters. And I like Anthony Santander's swing a lot, so I think this is probably the card I'm most excited for out of these. It is cool to see some guys like, Jackson Frazier is a pretty cool card to see, as him actually in real life, it didn't really work out, but it's cool to see some cards that you don't really, you're not used to seeing as much. So I think that's a cool card. Then we have the AL Central, which I don't know. I'm not too, crazy for a lot of these guys here. I think the Royce Lewis card would be kind of nice. I do like how Roy Lewis's swing is. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm not too crazy with a lot of the AL Central guys. They have a lot of cool card arts though, and a lot of cards that are kind of from past games, which I don't know. Some people don't really like that. They're basically just bringing old cards back into the game, and it's just the same stuff almost over and over and over. But I don't know. Me personally, I don't really care too much. But yeah. Same thing with AL West. These are the cards you get. There's none that I'm too crazy about here. I do like Jared Walsh's swing, so he does have the high power. I mean, obviously low contact versus lefties, but overall, I think pretty good card. And then we have the NL East, where you will get players like Eddie Rosario, Tanner Scott, Francisco Alvarez, J.P. Crawford on the Phillies. So this is, I think, a pretty cool card. I don't know. I like J.P. Crawford, and I think, obviously seeing him in the Phillies is cool. And then Victor Robles, who got DFA, now he's on the Mariners. So, yeah, anyways. I'm not too big on none of those cards. None of them really stand out too much to me. And then we have, which I think this is my personal favorite card in this, is a starting pitcher version of Josh Hader. Josh Hader is a closing pitcher in real life. I don't think he's ever started a game in the MLB. So I think this is a really cool card. Just that, you're getting a starter version of Josh Hader. I think that's pretty cool. And he has the high velo. A lot of the high velo guys, he's a lefty arm. Really cool card. I think he's my personal favorite out of everyone in this whole Team Affinity. And then lastly, we have the NL West, which, again, not too high on a lot of guys. Gavin Lux, I think, with, him qualifying for some boosts, I think it can make him really good if he does. I don't know which ones he really qualifies for, but I mean, he already has like pretty good hitting stats, but none that are too high. But obviously with some boosts, it can get it, a pretty high rating. So this Gavin Lux card, I don't think is that bad. He's also a lefty bat, which you're mostly going to be seeing right arm pitchers. And I don't know, to me, I like batting opposite hand. I think that's something with a lot of guys too. So yeah, these are kind of the cards you get from Team Affinity. And so that's basically everything new to the game. As for what I would do to start off the season, obviously I think it depends on the type of player you are. If you're looking to, try to just progress through the pass quick as possible, and you don't really care about playing competitively, stuff like that, mini seasons obviously I think gets you a lot of XP. The last one we seen, this one of Legends and Live Series, which I don't think you could do anymore. They're trying to crown me the champions right now, and we do not care. So we're gonna have to wait for that really quick. Anyways, as you can see, like, if you go through the reward pass, you get a lot of XP through these, like, 2,500, 2,500. I'm pretty sure there was more stuff that gave you like 7,000. And overall, you just get a lot of XP throughout these reward paths for mini seasons. So I think if you're looking to obviously progress through the pass as quick as possible, mini seasons does give you a lot of XP. And then if you're obviously just looking to invest in players, I think is a really good time at the beginning of a season where they just had a roster update. If you go look at, obviously a lot of these live series players, the prices are going to be down for a lot of guys. Maybe we can quickly find, I didn't really look, but maybe we can quickly find, Yandy Diaz went down to a silver, really low, price, obviously. But yeah, if there's a guy that you want to invest in or something, I feel like right now is obviously the best time to, as we will also be having a investment video coming out Wednesday, as always. Um, I think right now is the best time to invest in cards, as their prices are going to be down, as players already got updated, stuff like that. So if you kind of seen, I was just going through a lot of these players are pretty low prices, so you can go get people for some pretty low prices. And then also, if you're looking to kind of start off the season with some decent cards, I would definitely go do the season 2 awards, program, as you can then go get yourself, a few diamonds here that would fit your squad. With Nick Castellanos being the top guy that you get. For the boost that I'm using of the Rafael Devers boost, he qualifies for it, and I think it's gonna make him a really, really good card when it comes to hitting. As you can see, his worst kind of stats when it comes to hitting, in terms of power and contact, at least, is his power. So, adding some power would definitely make him a lot better of a card. And so yeah, I would definitely try to do the season 2 awards drop as soon as possible. Which a lot of these are just moments, and then obviously, well, not a lot of these, but there's some moments. And then we have these stat missions. A lot of these missions are relatively easy as long as you're just playing the game. But yeah, so I would do that. And then lastly, I think event mode's a pretty good thing to play, especially for players that, obviously with ranked or battle royale. I feel like at the beginning of the game, if you're not someone that's that good at MLB The Show, I feel like with these modes, especially at the beginning, it's filled with a lot of people that are a lot better at the game than a lot of people. A lot of sweats are on at the time. And if you don't want to deal with that, I would play event mode, as it doesn't really matter as much. You don't have to pay stubs to enter like battle royale. It doesn't stay in your record like ranked unless you're playing co-op. And then so yeah, event mode I think is a pretty good one to play, as you could if you get up to 20 wins, you can obviously get Luis Robert. And so I think event mode is probably the best for some of the people that aren't too good at the game to kind of play at the beginning of the season. Unless you don't really care, obviously, about rank record, or spending stubs to play battle royale, even if you're losing and not really progressing through it. But yeah, that's basically kind of all it is. And then with ranked, I guess the last thing I would say is that if you're playing co-op ranked, you could use all your cards, which I still think is kind of stupid, but you could use season 1 cards if you play ranked. So if I played ranked right now with someone, I could use any card in the game still. I don't have to use season 2 cards or core cards. I could use all my season 1 cards, and I think that's something that I wish they kind of changed, because I feel like, especially with what they just added now of you being able to play ranked and progressing through the ranked program from playing co-op ranked, I feel like it would make a lot more sense if they also, with that being said, adding in that you have to use season 2 cards or core cards, as I think my personal problem with, obviously, why I think seasons is something that's really good in the game, is seeing the same card every time. It gets boring. And if y'all seen when I was going over Team Affinity, I didn't finish the last season of Team Affinity, or the chapter 3 for season 1. I didn't finish any of this because I stopped playing the game. I did obviously my investment video, stuff like that, but I didn't really play the game at all because it just got boring. Like, you're seeing the same card over and over again, I feel like. Everybody's using the same players. And so I think it's still going to happen, especially with the new season just coming out. You're still going to see the same cards in co-op ranked. So I personally think that's something they should have did, where you could use only season 2 cards and core cards, and not you're eligible to use all your season 1 cards. But yeah, so that's quickly kind of just what basically everything that's new in season 2, everything that you should be looking to do, and what you should be going out and trying to get first. You know, the new packs, the new players in the game, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope everyone is obviously enjoying season 2, and I'll see y'all in the next video.